A young man needs to be wild, strong, and focused. These are the words of my mother. At the age of 5, one needs to start being responsible. My mother made sure that my journey to become a responsible young man was successful through the following 3 means. Fellow Toastmaster, my first step of becoming a responsible man began by grazing animals. I started grazing animals at a tender age of 5. As usual, after the early morning milking, my elder brother could take the animals away to a far land to graze. And always he could tell me to look after the calves. I could look after the calves together with other small boys around our home. Fellow Toastmasters, there is nothing as hard as looking after goats. If you ever looked after them, you can bear me witness. In those days, it was usual that in every flock of goats, there was a ringleader which could lead others into people's farms. In our language, we used to call it Getanarina, which means nameless. Our culture named animals according to color. For instance, if it was black, we could call it Kimwamu or Nyamwamu if it was female. If it was brown or red, we could call it Kiburuha or Nyaburuha. I vividly remember this day when Getanarina led other goats into our harsh neighbor's farm. My goodness, I don't want to remember what my grandmother did to me. Because she was a garrulous fellow Toastmasters. At the age of 12, I was mandated to look after the whole herd, which was composed of the goats, the sheep, and the cows. Grazing was done at a far place away from home, and one could graze the whole day. Fellow Toastmasters, the main responsibility of a young man was to ensure that these herds reaches home safe without invading people's farm. My fellow Toastmasters, my second step of becoming a young man was circumcision. This terrible incident was conducted to us to measure how much pain one can endure. On the night of circumcision, I did not sleep. There was all lots of noise and abusive words thrown at me. My right-hand man, whose main responsibility was to comfort me and guide me, started threatening me. Brian, let you blink your eye. Let me see you biting your lips. Let me see you bending. All these signs were seen as a sign of crime. And if you did any of them, then there are consequences. One, you couldn't have a say among your age group. Secondly, which was the most worst one, you could be left come home in a very calm way, without cheers and relations, which marked the climax of circumcision. Fellow Toastmasters, another scary incident about circumcision was that the tools used for circumcision were not sterilized. You can imagine one knife for all of us. The issue of AIDS and other infectious diseases, those were left for town people. If one opted to go to hospital for circumcision, then you could be referred to as a woman in court. And hence, you could have no place or an age group. No parent wanted to see his son seen as a reject in the community. And therefore, I had no option but to undergo the circumcision. Fellow Toastmasters, my third and final journey from boyhood to manhood is marriage. This is what I'm now expected of. For one to be considered married, you must do a wedding. My brother and friends tell me I have to do a local wedding. But my pastor and social class friends tells me that I have to do a church wedding. My friends say, if I do a church wedding, I will limit them with enjoyment like night dance and flow of alcohol. On the other hand, my pastor says, as a born-again Christian and a youth in the church, I need to set an example to other youths by doing a church wedding. Fellow Toastmasters, my journey from boyhood to manhood started by grazing and then circumcision. And finally, I'm looking forward to marriage. I'm looking forward for a day when I'll be in the church as the priest is presiding over our marriage, with everybody witnessing as we exchange our vows. As I say, yes, I do. Looking around, I see fellow Toastmasters clapping cheerfully as they say, Brian, welcome to manhood, Mr. Toastmaster.